Friends, welcome back. So today we're doing something a little different. This is design on a fly. I am at Swanson's, one of my favorite nurseries in Seattle, and we are doing design on a fly because this week has been busy and we have a container to construct today. I'm gonna take you shopping with me. This is what I do whenever I receive like a last minute phone call, a client's having a party, so on and so forth. So step one is always get a lay of the land. So let's take a spin around the nursery, because there's also some good sale stuff going on. For this challenge, I'm using 2 Ilex as a centerpiece. This is upright, it's beautiful, it's made for privacy and a little bit of hedging. I've done a cursory glance. I kind of have eyeballed a few pansies and violas that I really like. And now the next thing I'm on the hunt for is I need a Midstory, because we're going to have that really tall privacy piece in play, but I need something to break up those tall lines and marry it down to like my shorter violas and pansies. So I think I'm going to go look at grasses, because I always think the movement of grasses next to hedging is really lovely. Okay, I have picked out my grasses. This is a Panicum, and I've actually really wanted to use a Panicum in the last couple of containers because it just has these beautiful little frothy bits. It takes on a reddish blush in the fall, which I think is classic fall energy. And so we'll take these back and I'll dive in a little bit more to this exact variety and how I'm going to use it. Now that I've decided on my Midstory, I'm now going to go back to my color area, because it's at this point, because I am choosing a grass that has like a little bit of deep red in it. Now I'm going to start building the exact color story that I'm going for, because I feel like this is more of a statement grass. And so I want to build that story around what I've got going on here. I've gone through and I've pulled a couple of pansies and violas that I've really been attracted to. I actually wanted to create something with this, but as soon as I put it up here, it's too cool undertoned and it's just not going to go. But I love this cat face series. What is it actually called? Cats Plus, in a color called Marina. So pretty, so unexpected for fall. Really love this one, but again, it's too cool, so we're not going to use it. Next thing, with this Panicum blushing this kind of deep burgundy color, I picked up this red. Now, do you see what's happening here? The red actually is pulling a bit more purple than this super classic Delta Series pansy. And so this was also a no for me, which kind of surprised me. So then, I know we did pink last week, that silvery pink that matched my shoe. I will, of course, link it below. There's a whole playlist. But I then found this rose blotch. Now, what I love about the rose blotch series, and this is one I've used multiple times, is you get a purple center on a lot of these. And do you see how putting these two together, this is very rich. This is very textured, it's very rich. And then I even grabbed a little purple, sorbet purple, because look at those two together. I thought that was even awesome. And so even though this says it's like blushing red, I feel like we could go this direction and it might be awesome. Okay, we just did pink, so I'm gonna switch it up, but I do still like this purple. And so I have 2 options. I have option number 1, we go with a Jump Up pansy. The Jump Up series is amazing. This is Jump Up Orange. They have Jump Up Yellow and White. And I thought, you know, we're going to be cooking this container all the way through October, so Halloween, as well as November. So in our neck of the world, we celebrate Thanksgiving. And so that is actually really, for me, a super beautiful holiday container. And then we can switch it out for something very winter forward after that. So I really liked that. The last option is one of my favorite pansies. And it is this adorable tiger stripe it's actually a viola. And I love this. One of the things that I love the most about it actually is the back. Do you see that back? How it has that purple with a very red undertone to it. So even though this has purple, the purple is very warm toned. And so I think, you guys, I think this is actually what we might do. We're currently, I do love this. I feel like this is going to be readily available. So if you can't find this one where you live, a jump up is a perfect alternative. That is how I speed shop for a container. I'm looking for my statement mid layer. I'm already establishing my centerpiece, and then I'm really looking for that color jump off inspiration point. From just these little pieces here, I can then fill in texture, and I've got a ton of that in reserves. So that, my friends, is how I speed run designing a container. So we are back at the shop, and one of the goals that I set out for today is to answer another viewer's question, which is all about containers for privacy. Now, I do a lot of these, and there's two routes that I generally go. The first is using something columnar and upright, and the second is by using a vining element on a beautiful trellis of sorts. For today, we're using an awesome new selection. This is one I found at my nursery when I was shopping a couple weeks ago, and I actually bought it as an option for a client who's asking for containers for privacy. This is an Ilex, and it is called Red Sky. And what's amazing about it is you have this beautiful upright columnar shape of a traditional Ilex, but what's amazing is all of the new growth has this deep, beautiful, like almost like a burgundy red tip. It's not fire engine red. It's like deep, yummy, like saturated purpley red. So it's very, very cool. The other thing that's really great about this particular variety is this is perfect for a container or a small space. It's going to grow about 3 feet wide, 8 feet tall. So if you are in an urban space, or you have a balcony, or you just want to obstruct a view, this is also amazing for the landscape. It provides like a beautiful structural moment. And I've even done these in kind of a zigzag line for something a bit more artistic. I'm going to just start us off strong. We're going to get our centerpieces in, and then we're going to start playing with the Midstory and the florals. This container that I am using is 3 feet long, 17 deep, 17 high. I know that when people ask for privacy, they want privacy. So how I'm going to position my centerpieces is at kind of like the two outermost corners, knowing that we are going to actually get over 5 feet wide when this grows to maturity. Surprise, surprise, I bought too many plants. Okay, I'm gonna go get our sweet little grass, and I only have room for one. So we're gonna put it in the middle. It's gonna be gorgeous. So this is a Panicum. It's called Blood Brothers Switchgrass. And essentially, I want to give a little shout out to grasses. Grasses are amazing, but you never want to leave them in a pot long term unless you want that one pot to be all grass, because grasses have a tendency to completely fill whatever cavity you put them in. So for me, with this little Panicum, I know that it's going to grow about 4 feet tall eventually. So I'm going to treat this actually as an annual for this application. I could, if you had a bigger container, you could leave this in here for 2 years, and then you're going to take your hori and you're actually going to cut this sucker out. But I will warn you, there's a few that I will never, ever put in a container. One of them is a juncus. That is a hot mess. I won't even put it in there for 6 months because it is that much of a disaster to get out of the container. The other one I won't put in a container unless I want it to be the only thing there is a large miscanthus grass, because that one, after about 1.5 years, your entire container is going to be filled. In fact, it runs to the edges and then starts circling around, and good luck, because you're going to have to bust your container to get it out. So today, we're going cute, we're going Panicum, Blood Brothers, and this coloration brings out just, let me see if there's, oh, you are getting just like the tiniest hint of this new growth. It's beautiful. Final note on this Panicum. Do you see how the green of this Panicum has a slight blue tint to it, along with, of course, this gorgeous, gorgeous deep burgundy? The reason I chose this one is because if I were to get a glossy grass in front of my Ilex, it would lose itself. It would become one giant green blob. So choose something with a little bit of visual interest and definitely a tonality change in your green. I want to take a moment for privacy, because a lot of times when people want privacy, their expectation is that the privacy is immediate. And there are ways to do that. And you can buy really mature specimens, but they are going to cost you a pretty penny. What I like to do instead for my clients is I like to plan for growth. I like to plan with the future in mind. So even here, I'm like, oh, that's cute right now. And someone on the internet is gonna be like, that's not enough privacy. I totally get it. But if I were to plant these root ball to root ball, these two Ilex are going to be the most unhappy campers ever by next year even. They're just gonna be a mess. So with privacy, set your expectations, know what you're getting into, and when it comes to containers, always plan for growth, because we want these Ilex to be happy, not today, not tomorrow, but 2, 3, 4 years from now. What my goal here for you guys is to have these two main Ilex be our permanent fixtures, and everything else out the front can change out with the seasons. And there's a couple of reasons that I like to do this. I love to do this for people who are busy, who maybe are on a budget and they're looking to do a one-time investment. And then basically quarterly, when you're at the grocery store and you see something like a viola, you throw it in. Or maybe you're at the grocery store in February and they have forced bulbs, you pull out your violas, you throw in some gorgeous tay-to-tay daffodils, and so on and so forth. And that is such a low-hanging fruit way to have a semi-permanent container that just gets a little refresh. The other thing, if you're growing a hedge in a container, your root ball is going to become massive in here. And so there may be a day where you're only putting little tiny color spots right in a row down in front with maybe a few trailers. So we're gonna gussy it up for the here and the now, and you're gonna see how I build in our layers and textures. So I'm gonna start a little bit interesting here, and I'm gonna start with my trailers. This is a vinca called Wuju's Gem. It is evergreen. It goes on and on and on. You can leave this in your container, and this can be part of your like set it and forget it type program for this container. Now, next thing, I want this container to feel more wide, because if I end here with violas, I think it's gonna feel too flat. I also want it to feel more bushy and less columnar. So I'm gonna add a few frilly bits out here that can also be left in year round, and you just remove them when this root ball gets too big. Okay, so here we are. I had a few black mondo grass in my stash, and I also had this little guy. You know it, I love it. This is a Lonicera. It's a box honeysuckle, and it grows in this spidery habit. And it's a tiny shrub. And do you see how by putting something bright back here, it highlights everything in front? So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get these basics in, and then we're gonna just plug and play with all of our cute little color bits. So this for me is really the star of the show. And I love that a bit of this bright yellow actually reads close to the variegation in my Wuju's Gem Vinca as well as my Lonicera. Now, what I feel like this is missing is some deep tones to anchor it into our fall, early winter vibe that we've got going on here. So this is where I'm also gonna bring in this awesome little viola. This is the Sorbet purple, and already having some depth of color here, you know what it's doing actually, is I feel like it's relating to my black mondo grass, which is awesome. The other thing that I wanna do here is add a little bit of visual interest back here. Now, I am adding violas in the very back, and the reason is you can still see through the hedging because it isn't fully mature. And also, if you have this on a balcony, it's kind of fun arriving home, seeing your balcony from two different directions. And so I always like to make sure if you can see any bit of that backside, it has a little zhuzhing there as well. Would I add in anything else here? I did bring in one other thing. And it is this deep, it's a Delta Pro clear violet pansy. And the reason I brought this in is we've got a lot of small leaf shapes and I wanted more of a voluptuous flower. And also pansies and violas, tiny root system. So it's not like it's gonna compete super heavily. So I think I might put one here, and I might actually bring that little purple out here and form a bit of an arc coming across the front. An arc is just a beautiful shape within any container or landscape. Oh man, you guys, I think this might be it. And now that I'm looking at it, I think I might only need one back here because that is gonna fill in considerably. I can also put another purple back in there, but I just don't even think we need it. I think one shot of color in the back, letting it be big and fluffy. You guys, I think this is it. And you know what time it is? It is time for an update on our week 3 container, so let's bring it out. Friends, I am very tickled with my moon-inspired container. You know, this is really awesome to see it so filled in and entwining all of the elements. There are a couple things that I would, if you duplicated this container in your garden, there's a couple things here where it becomes choose your own adventure. So you can see my helichrysum is happy as can be. Now I love that it's actually I'm gonna spin this real quick. Do you see how it's creeping through my heuchera here? And it's just like coming out the back. I love it. However, some people are separatists. They like all of their elements to be in their own little pocket. So if that is you, there's nothing that says you can't come in and prune this out. Same thing with these ones that are coming in here up into my Gara. But again, I kind of like it. I'm into it. In terms of my vinca, do you see how gorgeous this is? And I'm not having to deadhead this. The annual vinca is such a killer in the landscape, and I feel like no one ever uses it. But this is one of those beautiful white florals that you don't have to worry about turning brown before it falls off. Friends, week 8, and she is looking gorgeous. A container built for privacy. And honestly, I also wanted a container that was gonna be a little bit more low maintenance for those of you who lead super busy lives, but you still want your container, your patio, your life to feel fresh and floral filled. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any recommendations, please leave them in the description below. Oh, and I forgot to mention, this one can handle sun to part shade. So really great if you have mixed sun conditions. All right, I'll see you in the next one. In the meantime, say hello to your garden for me.